Hello and welcome. My name is Tobias, and in this video I will help you to get the Spoilsport Achievement in Kingdom Come Deliverance. To begin with, you have to start the Money for Old Rope quest, and to do this you have to speak to Herman, the executioner in Rattay. In this quest there is about to be an execution in Rattay, and the problem is that Herman isn't the one who is going to perform the executions, but instead they're taking in an executioner from Kuttenberg. So Herman asks you to sabotage the executions so that the Kuttenberg executioner will make a fool out of himself. After you have spoken to Herman, you should go talk to the bailiff and see if he has some information about the convicts.
You? What do you want from me?
I hear there's going to be a big execution here.
There certainly is. It'll be a glorious event for our town. They'll be talking about it for years.
Who's for the chop?
The biggest outlaws and reprobates for miles around. Peter of Dauba, George Weiss, and Frost Herald.
What did they do?
What didn't they do, more like? They caused trouble all over the country.
Who's this Peter of Dauba?
A noble who lost his fortune. He's been holding up merchants for months.
That's all?
At first, but then his gang started getting bloodthirsty. They wiped out a whole squad that was hunting them. He won't walk away from this.
What can you tell me about Herald?
They call him Frost because he's always cool as ice, until he starts. I've seen plenty of killers and thugs in my day, but that one's got the devil in him.
Why?
They say the only thing that'll put a smile on his face is the sound of screaming and weeping. That beast kills for pleasure. When they caught him, he had a candle made from the arm of an infant. For luck, he said.
Christ. What about Weiss?
No one actually knows where he came from, but they say the murdering started with him. He never leaves witnesses. He'd rather wipe out a whole village than take a chance.
Thanks, bailiff. That's all I need to know.
Now that we have more information about the assailants, we're going to have to look up the different execution methods in the Black Chronicles. The first pages of the Black Chronicle, we read about Jan the Miller of Pakov, and he was convicted of acts of robbery, murder, and selling of stolen goods. And because he's a commoner, he will be put to death by hanging. And then we know that George Weiss is going to be put to death by hanging. And then we read about Kubin called Buck, the Baron of Milotitz, and he stole a horse from a monk, and he also robbed and murdered a bunch of people. And because he's a nobleman, because he's a baron, he was going to be put to death by the sword. And then we know that Peter of Dabio is going to get his head chopped off. And last but not least, we'll read about Martin called the Stag. And he was convicted of robbing and murdering several people, and was also convicted of acts of cannibalism. So because of this, he was to be put to death by eventually torture. And then we know that Frost is going to be tortured before he is killed. So now that you have the information of the fate of the convicts, we have to go back to Herman and ask him what we're going to do next. And then when you're going to speak to Herman, you can inform him in which way the different assailants is going to be executed. And then you can get to plan how you're going to sabotage the executions.
I need your advice.
Did you find out what they did? And did you read the Black Chronicle?
Yes.
So tell me what you found out, and I'll see what I can come up with. Just bear in mind, I can help you work it out, but you'll only find exactly what you need in the Rattay Black Chronicle. Every executioner has his own way of doing things, and this bastard might have different methods in mind.
His neck is going on the block.
That makes sense. His crimes are great, but he's still a nobleman, so he gets an honorable death.
George Weiss is a bloodthirsty bastard who left a trail of corpses behind him. He hasn't earned an honorable death. He's for a long drop on a short rope.
A murderer deserves nothing better. That makes sense.
Frost Herald is the worst of them all. sent by Satan himself. The things he's done would make a demon blanch. The executioner will take his time with that one. He'll be begging to die. If I read correctly, it'll start with ripping the flesh.
Aye, could be. He deserves nothing better.
So, have we got everything we need?
We've covered all the possibilities. There's nothing more we can think up.
And for this next part, you're going to have pretty high sneaking skills, lockpicking skills, and pickpocketing skills. And also you're going to have a vial of poison. Because you're going to have to sneak into the executioner's camp and steal his sword. And this camp is always guarded by one person and a dog. And when you have the sword, you have to dull it by using a sharpening stone on it. And you're also going to have to poison the pliers, for which the executioner is going to use when torturing Frost, so that he dies immediately in the beginning of the torture. And lastly, you're going to have to switch out the rope for a rotten one, so that the rope snaps in the beginning of the hanging. When sneaking into the camp, try using as dark clothes as you can, and try to have your noise level as low as you can. The sword is in a chest in the right tent. You can open this lock by either pickpocketing the executioner for his key, or you can unlock it yourself if you have a lockpick on you. If the executioner should awake and caught you pickpocketing him, you can knock him out, but it's important that you don't kill him, because then this will ruin the mission. And then when you have the sword, you can go to sharpening stone to damage it. You see when the sword is getting damaged when there's coming black smoke from the sword.
There we go. Now to get it back to the executioner. There. You couldn't chop the head off a chicken with this.
And when you have placed the sword back in the chest, you can go to the cartridge nearby, and there you will find the pliers, so you can apply poison to them. And then you can sneak into the barn nearby and climb the ladder, and there you will find a rope, so you can replace it with the old rotten rope.
That should do it. It'll never hold the weight of a grown man.
And when all this is done, you can report back to Herman.
Now let them get on with the executions now.
Yes.
Now all we have to do is go and enjoy the show.
Now that we've spoken to Herman, we can go and watch the executions. The executions takes place at the Gallows Hill at 2 o'clock the next morning. So what you can do is that you go to Gallows Hill and wait until 2 o'clock, and then the cinematics will automatically start.
Into your hands, Lord, I commend my spirit. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, who redeemed me by his precious blood, have mercy on me and lead me to eternal glory. Amen.
What the
After the cinematics, you can go and speak to Herman. This will complete the mission and you'll get the Spoilsport Achievement as well.
Did you see that? An utter disgrace.
It certainly was. The executioner couldn't hold his head high after that.
True. The whole crowd was looking forward to it, and right at the start he fucked up the beheading. And then he took the tongs and... and the fellow kicked the bucket right away. Jesus, how he gaped. And then furious as a rabid dog, furious, he grabs the last one. And he wasn't even able to hang him. I'll be forever grateful to you, Hal. You saved my job, and you deserve a reward for it.
Thank you.
If you have any questions about this achievement or about this video, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching.